Okay, folks, this is going to be the first video I'm putting up. I can't keep up with the news. I mean, I'm not talking mainstream media news. I'm talking about just the real stuff. It's just happening so fast. And that's going to be explained in a later video, I think. Maybe the Tyler Wood video, because he touches on that, and I'm going to touch on it too, I think. But there's stuff happening so fast. This earth is so corrupted. I've told you that. I had a rant where I hate this earth. It's not that. See, the Lord did not intend us to be this way. But He created good and evil, and it says so in the Old Testament. And the reason He did that, I know why. When I first read it, I didn't know why. Why would you do that? Because He gave us free will, and He had to make both sides so that we would choose His side. We have blue, no. We have a lot we have to go through yet still. And pre-tribulation rapturists think that they're not going to go through anything, but they're already going through things, and they're not gone. How's that working for you, folks? We're living it. Blue. We're living it, folks. We are living tough times. And if you think it's going to get better, it's not. And you're going to still be here going through it with me. The question isn't, am I going to be here with you? The question should be, am I prepared to survive it? From the people that I've talked to, no. Almost no one is prepared for this. And I don't know anybody personally that I've met personally that is prepared for what's coming. That's sad. And the thing is you don't remember the hen? They wanted to bake the bread. Everybody wanted to taste the bread, but they didn't want to help with the process of planting the seeds, of cultivating, of harvesting, of turning the grain into flour, of actually baking the bread, but they wanted to eat the results. Remember that these people that you have tried to tell to prepare are going to be those people. Only it's not going to be like the hen. It's going to be violent. And I'm telling you, with the droughts that's coming, we're already in a drought. But with what's coming, people will be eating other people. Get that through your thick head. It happened in the Dust Bowl. It happened in the 1800s. It's going to happen again. Remember that. So for all you people that think, oh, we don't need guns, I got something to tell you. If you don't have a gun where you can take these people out from a distance, you better know your combat hand to hand. Because if you don't, you're in trouble. And you're going to be on somebody's table. Remember The movie, Green, I think it was called Green Tomatoes. Go watch it. Fried green tomatoes, that's what it was. Go watch it. That's what it's about. You know what? I love y'all, but I'm going to spank you over and over again until you get it through your head. I'm out.
My alert went off for my security camera outside. I looked at the security footage on my phone. Mind you, I can see the light came on my porch, and I'm like, something on my porch. And so I look at it, saw it. I was like, that looks very demonic. Sometimes there are videos I don't even want to do, but I can't sit on the sideline and not do them. Like, I'm staying busy. I'm doing DIY projects. I'm creating a peaceful surrounding for the time being that I'm still here on this earth. But our time is ticking down. There are warning signs happening every single day. Earthquakes all around the world. Flooding all around the world. Death, destruction, desolation of the land. Children are dying. Adults are dying. And many don't pay attention. I don't want to do this video. But I also can't sit around and pretend that these things are not happening. Sure, I can go on and live my life and do all the things, but the things that I'm doing is not things of the flesh. At some point, we're going to have to really recognize that God is speaking and He is returning, and it's not going to be a peaceful return. Most of us won't even see the things that are going to take place because the majority of us will be gone when that happens. But for those who will remain, there's no amount of, I'm gonna say something that's probably not good for a person who does like preparedness videos, but listen, you can prepare all you want with toilet paper, with rice, with beans, with canned goods. I have all those things. And I started stocking those things up before I had Jesus. And although I still have those things, I donated a lot of things, that's not what's going to save you in the end. If you don't have that relationship with Christ, that is going to be a problem. I'm not saying don't stock up, but you need to know what you're preparing for. Before you go into battle, you need to know what you are about to battle, what you're about to attack, or what's about to attack you. And many of us are not going to be prepared for that. Even those of us who know what's coming, we still ain't prepared for that. And prayerfully, we won't be here for it. But we need to be preparing spiritually for the battle that's coming.
Watch this. I deafen, I blind, and I mute every evil monitoring familiar spirit, and I sever every silver cord of every witch and every warlock in Jesus' name.
And you don't go in unprepared. You need to know who your enemy is. You need to know what they're going to do. And the deception is going to be so real that it's going to fool many, even the elect.
The United States has a patent called the Voice of God.
So y'all, get prayed up, stay in prayer, because the battle's already started. It's not coming, it's already happening. And if you are truly building your relationship with Christ, the closer you get, and the more you pray, and the more you try to cast out demons and all that stuff, the more you open yourself up to spiritual warfare. They love to come in the middle of the night, early morning. Typically, that's when the Holy Spirit wakes me up and tells me I need to get up and pray. So I did that. I've been doing that. And one night, I got up. So story time. I got up, and Holy Spirit had me praying. It was around 3-something. Y'all, I was praying, casting out, I had already walked through my house the night before with my holy oil. My holy oil, rubbing it on the windows, the doors, and all of that, and on myself. And praying the prayers to ward off, cast out any demonic spirits into the abyss. And went to sleep. Wasn't even asleep that long. My phone woke me up. My alert went off for my security camera outside. I looked at the security footage on my phone. Mind you, I can see the light came on my porch, and I'm like, something on my porch. And so I look at it. Whoa. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a spider at first. But when I saw it, I was like, that looks very demonic. It looked very demonic. So I didn't know what it was. It definitely wasn't going out there. So I began to pray more and rebuke it, cast it out, whatever it was. And then I began to search the meaning of what I thought it was, which I thought it was a spider. Well, when I realized what it was the next morning. So the whole night I thought it was a spider. Then the next morning I go outside, I look at the camera. It's still there. It was a huge black fly. And flies really are like a demonic thing. And they follow death. They follow, you get what I'm saying? And anywhere you see a fly, it's something bad with it. So I started looking up that and why it landed on the lens of the camera, and learning what that meant. And that meant God was answering my prayer. I literally started crying in that moment, that God was answering my prayer, and he was blocking any demonic spirits from coming in my home. He was letting me know that he was watching over my house, that he was watching over my doors and my windows and any cracks, so that nothing would come in. And that fly landing there, not being able to come in, was a sign from God. And if we're not paying attention, we will miss it. So I'm saying to you, if you want to keep stocking up, stock up, for severe weather and stuff like that. But you cannot stock up food and all that stuff for the end times. You can't. The only thing you need to stock up is your prayers.
Every day getting worse again. Ocean surface temperature hits record high as world enters uncharted territory. This is what the scientists are warning the world. Also, 2 hours ago, Super El Nino and Antarctic heat raise extreme weather risks. Super El Nino poised to peak. They're starting to call it a Super El Nino. This is not good, folks. Highly probable insurance models will no longer exist the way that you know them, meaning people will not be able to afford it. This is going to come with a whole gamut of other problems too. One of them, this changing weather is spreading fungal storms across America, including valley fever. I'm reading symptoms like cold and flu, meningitis, and more. Even articles coming out in Europe. Europe braces for Super El Nino as scientists warn extreme weather could intensify. I've been calling this the last couple weeks. It's heading down that road. Super El Nino of 1877 took out 40 to 50 million people. This is why I'm keeping a close eye on it, and so should you. important information that might affect you. Let's begin. Hey guys, I told you I would keep up on this because this is emerging. It's getting worse every single day. I'm not sure if you guys have researched the El Nino of 1877, but if you haven't, you should. Because a lot of the scientists and weather professionals are saying that we're looking stronger and bigger than some of the indicator signs from that storm. Meaning if things continue to get worse, life as we know it could change. I'm not saying this is gonna happen. I'm just looking at all the indicators. You guys can easily see the crazy heat, the crazy weather, the crazy fires are popping up faster and lasting longer. Wild heat domes, people not making it due to the heat. Wild erratic weather. And all of the professionals from several different outlets are all saying it's picking up and it's getting worse. Let me go over just some of the latest stuff that's just come out this morning within hours so you guys are up to date. And again, if you guys appreciate this type of stuff, please start off with a like. Please let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments. You think this is gonna get worse or you think it's all fluff? Because I can tell you what's happened so far with all the weather anomalies is not fluff. People are experiencing it. If you guys are experiencing some of this extreme heat that they're warning us of, and we're seeing the triple digits everywhere, I did a video yesterday. It's a zero cost DIY. Turn any fan at your house into a little room AC. I'll put a link to that video in the pinned comment and the description so you can watch it right after this one.
Tonight, a massive heat wave is baking half the country, with temperatures expected to soar into the high 90s across most of the Northeast and Midwest. And it'll feel even hotter. The heat index already topping 100 in Chicago, St. Louis, and Milwaukee, where crews battling a massive fire are on reduced work cycles.
We're encouraging them to take their coats off, cool off, rehydrate, get some water. We are also increasing their recovery time.
And in Philadelphia, World Cup organizers will be scaling back viewing schedules at several fan fests. Out west, these are the extremely dry, windy conditions fueling massive wildfires. This Ring camera video capturing the ferocious Aspen Acres fire in Colorado. It's crazy. Forcing hundreds to evacuate and destroying more than 150 structures. In Utah, evacuees allowed back into the Cottonwood burn zone for the first time.
We had 5 minutes to get what we could. It was moving pretty quick. It was very quick. It sounded like a freight train. It was unreal.
Jim Stetler and Cindy Abbott, who manage campgrounds on the mountain, lost everything.
This community has been just by far the strongest, most wonderful, supportive community that I've ever been in my life.
A dangerous double threat, hammering more than half the country.
Dana is with us live from Beaver, Utah. And Dana, it doesn't look like there's much relief for firefighters anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. And Hallie, officials are concerned as temperatures increase, creating drier conditions. The governors of both Colorado and Utah now warning people to be mindful in how they celebrate to prevent starting new fires. Here in Utah, most fireworks are now banned.
Utah and especially Colorado now. I've got several feeds. 150 homes, residents, buildings gone. We haven't even hit the 4th of July yet. We've got European unions coming out announcing they both had independently confirmed the record temperatures. Carlo Bontempo, director of some climate change service, warned that the rising temperatures could mark the beginning of a new phase. Look, I know there's a lot of fluff with all that, but what doesn't change is the temperatures that we're experiencing. I don't know if it has anything to do with all of the stuff that they say. I just know that we're experiencing something crazy. Moving right along, here's another article. Super El Nino, Antarctic heat raise extreme weather risks. This is actually all over the news everywhere now. Antarctic heat anomaly. Also, Super El Nino builds as rare powerful El Nino is forming forecast to exceed 2 degrees Celsius anomalies with potential to drive extreme weather globally into 2027. This ain't stopping anytime soon. Even Europe's climate stress, they're saying these are patterns signaling heightened risks for prolonged heat waves and weather extremes. Here's another article. Super El Nino poised to peak. Meteorologists report a rapidly strengthening El Nino in the Pacific expected to reach super status with plus 4 to 5 degrees Celsius anomalies at its peak. Super El Nino, I believe, only takes a 2-degree change in the ocean. And if you guys don't know, this is historically linked to severe floods, droughts, and disrupted monsoons. We're talking about record global temperatures, prolonged heat waves left and right. How about this quote going around? This affects us in a bad way financially, and coverage for our homes and stuff. Certain locations and perils cannot be covered as we would wish them to be covered. We cannot help it. Heat, floods, storms, wildfires could become so frequent that they challenge traditional insurance models, risk adequate pricing, which could make it not affordable any longer. And that comes from the board director. You can see in this image right here, we're just in one phase of this thing. Like I've told you in these other videos, these other two that I've done, if you missed them, watch them. Super El Nino can come across like a bipolar mess. And right now we're dealing with heat domes, weird cold pressure up in the northwest. You already know what they're dealing with. World's ocean hits record June heat as Super El Nino looms. And this is coming from a compiled news AI report. They're saying that the record ocean heat, June sea surface temperatures averaged 20.98. They're saying that the Super El Nino is building. Pacific heat anomalies and Kelvin waves indicates one of the strongest El Ninos in record. These things are calling for global impacts are expected. They're saying marine heat waves have already affected over 80% of the oceans. That affects coral reefs, fisheries, and triggering ecological and economical losses. And really, that's just part of this thing. Like, this thing could also bring on loss of life in a big way, and some of that might be caused from new sicknesses that emerge. Like this right here, I'm reading this. How changing weather is spreading fungal storms across America, including valley fever, caused by coccidioides, I don't know what that fungus is spreading from desert, southwest, Arizona, California, New Mexico, Texas, toward the Midwest and potentially Canada, aided by charging weather patterns. Don't know what that is, but it does not sound good. They're saying the fungal storms are microscopic spores, travel via dust storms, hurricane winds, and floodwaters with hotter, drier conditions. And they're saying the extreme rain, which watch, it'll come, events increasing their airborne spread. So on top of dealing with all of this nuts weather, having a health issue, health impact, symptoms could change everything too. They're saying symptoms mimic cold or flu, but can last weeks to months. Like we want colds or flus that are gonna last weeks or months, right? And they're saying if you don't catch this, early diagnosis is crucial for effective treatment, which tells me like you don't catch it early enough, you might be kind of up a creek. And when we thought that Super El Ninos kind of suppressed hurricane season, we all question on what's happening with weather anyway, right? Well, now all of a sudden the Weather Channel's coming out and saying the potential Super El Nino and wild card could boost the Eastern Pacific hurricane season. I'm telling you, everything that I read about this and learned, one of the good things it does is suppress hurricane season. Now we're getting this wild card event, which could boost the hurricane season. I'm telling you folks, I don't know what you need to be ready for, but I'm not trying to like create fear or anything else, but there is a lot out there to read right now, and it is coming quick. When's it gonna start? Like this just came out, so I don't know if they mean next May or what, but let's read this. Early season start begins May 15th, earlier than the Atlantic due to favorable Pacific conditions. An absence in Sahara dust that suppresses storm formation, which we're getting the Sahara dust, that's for dang sure. El Nino boost. A potential Super El Nino could increase storms by squiggly line 4. Hurricanes by 2 to 3, major hurricanes by 1 to 2, creating a more active season than average. Where at, they say. Impact zones. Most storms stay offshore, but some may affect Mexico, Hawaii, and U.S. Southwest. And that's with remnant moisture enhancing summer monsoons. Unusually warm ocean waters could extend the storm's longevity. Meteorologists are saying that the Super El Nino is poised to peak. Meteorologists are also reporting rapidly strengthening El Nino in the Pacific, expected to reach super status with +4 to 5 anomalies at its peak. You got Ryan Hall having headlines, Super El Nino. You've got Max Velocity talking about Super El Nino. You've got all these big players starting to bark the term Super El Nino, and we see a lot of the signs of just crazy weather already, but the driving factor out there in the ocean is getting stronger and stronger. Super El Ninos are historically linked to severe flooding, severe droughts, and disrupted monsoons. These events have also driven record global temperatures, prolonged heat waves, prolonged weather events. They're already talking well into 2027. I think we're in for quite a ride. Call it what you want, but I think that droughts, storms, heat waves, flooding, I think we're gonna see it all, and we're gonna probably see it all maybe a little bit worse than we've ever seen it before. I hate to say it, but that's what my gut tells me, and all of this supporting evidence is growing by the day. What do we do about it? Well, I don't know. It's weather. Like, I don't know if we can do much as civilians. I've always told people, do what you can do, be as prepared as you can be prepared within reason. The rest is in God's hands. You guys found some valid. Welcome back. Let's dive in. First on the list has a reputation around words like raw and organic. Consumers are actually expecting minimal processed honey. Instead, that company coming from Great Value and Walmart also questioned with litigation about whether the product matches those expectations. I'm talking about all the things that you want to see: organic, raw, unfiltered. 2 or 3 words that make you feel comfortable in buying something good. Here is what the label did not tell you. A federal class action lawsuit. Look it up, Northern District of Illinois. That's for the international level of organic honey. That's 3 times higher, which means it's the chemical footprint of added sugars. Corn syrup, beet sugar, rice syrup. What they're doing is disguising those ingredients as something that they're not. And here's the thing, the FDA is clear about this. So how does it slip through the cracks? You cannot have an added sugar with that. Meaning you cannot put the word organic on it. You cannot put the word raw on it. So how is it that Walmart can get away with doing all 3? Because when we open a jar of honey, looks like honey, it's clear like honey, smells like honey, must be honey, right? You guys aren't doing anything wrong. You're going to the store, you're a civilian, you look at the shelves, you know what to look for, but the problem is the labels are lying to you. So it raises a serious question. When this is the largest retailer in the United States and they're getting away with this, definitely something to be concerned about. Ultimately, mislabeled. Basically, lawsuit in a jar. Number 2, Sue Bee Honey. Beehive honey. I'm talking, you guys are picturing the guy in the flannel shirt out there on the countryside pulling the rack of honey from the little box and scraping it right off, filling up jars so that it can reach the tube or the jar that you're seeing in front of your face in the grocery store. Sue Bee, guys, feels good, right? Like something that your grandma would buy. Like you feel like it's a handshake back in the 60s. Like we're good to go here. This brand is focused heavily on heritage and tradition. We're talking about generations of families trusted it. Yet the questions were raised about product's authenticity and extensive processing. And one reoccurring topic was pollen. Why? Because the pollen can't help identify where the honey came from, and removing it becomes much harder to verify the origin. Sue Bee Honey was actually named also in the 2023 lawsuit action, same legal filings that hit Costco and Nature's Mate. We're talking about claims that the honey was diluted with corn syrup, rice sugar, cane syrup. We're talking about a company that built its reputation completely about the farmer raising bees. Ultra filtered, pollen removed, origin untraceable, which means if we don't know where it came from, we have no idea where it came from. It could come from India, China, no idea. And here's the thing, I'm learning that this is not an accident. It is a system, US farmed all over the label. It's a generational thing. People have heard this name for a long time, they trust it. But what happens when a huge company gets their hands on a company like this? Do you think all the same values apply? Listen, on this channel, I'm exposing things all the time, bringing education, emergency awareness, preparedness. Right now is the time that you guys should hit the subscribe button because I've got a lot more coming down the pipe. And here we go, number 3, Winnie the Pooh honey. Everybody knows Pooh Bear, the little trusted bear kids trust. Cute cuddly bear with his head stuck in a honey pot. When parents see that jar on the shelf, something happens. The guard goes down, feels innocent, it feels safe, it feels like the right choice for a child, right? That is exactly why it works, and that is exactly why big companies are marketing it. Where are you gonna see this? Again, at Walmart. I feel like somebody that shops at Walmart, you need to question everything. What the brand is doing is creating a sense of comfort and familiarity. But the bigger question wasn't the artwork on the label. It was whether the shopper was getting what they believed they were paying for. I'm talking about, in this one, pollen completely removed out of the honey. And here's the thing, when you ask the manufacturer why, it's because they think that consumers want honey 100% pure. They want to be able to see through it. Clear means ultra filtered, but it also means when you clear it that much that it has removed every marker that tells its origin, its authenticity, which means not traceable, no pollen, no origin. No origin means no accountability. So here's the thing, don't trust the cute cuddly bear with honey. You don't have any idea where it came from. Number 4, Busy Bee. 55 million pounds of honey a year. When it comes to this honey, you would expect the best. You would expect all the testing, all of the ins and outs, a brand that you could trust, a brand numbered for marketing itself as premium. I'm talking about when you go to the store, you think you're picking up something that's better than the rest, meaning you're paying more because you believed you were getting a higher quality. Here's the thing, it went through third-party testing, labs, it was tested, and these guys are saying that the results are confusing. They don't get it. The question at hand is Chinese laundering actions, meaning you take the honey, send it through a bunch of countries, eliminate all of the risk factors, filter it through a bunch of different things. Companies are figuring out how to jump through the hoops. They know what we look for, and they're hiding all of the evidence. Adulterated, fake honey. We're talking about when you guys think that you're getting a good source of sugar coming from a honeybee that got it from a flower, that natural sweetness that you're putting in your protein shake, that natural sweetness that you're throwing on your oatmeal or in your tea. Scams are getting out of control. Number 5, Nature's Nate, the health food disguise. And here's the thing that hurts the most. When you're going to find honey, you're seeing Nature's Nates. You're thinking that you're in the organic section. You think you're getting everything that's all natural. It's not generic. It is not hiding somewhere on discount sale. You're gonna find this in the natural food stand. It's in the organic section, next to the kombucha, the organic nut butters. You are ultra safe buying this stuff because it's gotta be real. The packaging is real. It feels convincing. You buy this and you think that you just bought this from somebody that actually keeps bees. And it says unfiltered right on the front label. Confidence. A lot of things doing a lot of work to make you feel great about the purchase. All of us looking at ingredients, unfiltered, reading everything that they're putting on the labels. As a label reader, it looks right, and they know it. These marketers are paid to know what we're looking for, and they're gonna make these labels look exactly like that. And that's something you guys need to realize. They know that filtered is a buzzword and people are worried about it. So what do? They throw pure, raw, unfiltered right on the label. And that's when the lawsuits came. Again, they were also named in the 2023 lawsuit. Also, dilution with corn syrup and rice syrup. Also, the temperatures used destroy everything good. And here's the thing, if heat kills, what raw means completely disrupts the label when it says raw. When it comes to that brand, definitely a lot of digging to figure out what you're getting. That's why reading beyond the label matters. Number 6, Kirkland Signature. Costco members are a loyal group, and for good reason. In fact, Costco happens to be one of my favorite go-tos. But this day and age, you need to pay attention. As we know, the Kirkland name has a reputation. Does it deserve it? That's what's in question. But I can tell you, much of America that shops at Costco trusts Costco. The assumption is the vetting has already happened. Someone at corporate went through the suppliers, checked the standards, and only put the Kirkland name on stuff that passed through the tests. That assumption is the entire business model, and that's what makes this one so frustrating. Also named in the 2023 class action lawsuit, Signature Costco Honey. The same filing, the same allegations, dilution with corn syrup, dilution with rice syrup, and beet sugar. Pollen removed, origin untraceable. The Costco name did not protect the product. And this is the problem. You've got to be careful because a lot of people put trust in stuff that they don't research. It just has to go with reputation. But the reputation with once upon a time companies is no longer there. And here's the thing, when you're shopping at Costco, you're getting a huge jug, probably like a gallon sized jug, and it's probably a 2-pack. So you're actually inviting a heck of a more of the problem into your house, feeding it to you, yourself, your family, a lot of other people, probably all your guests, over a longer period of time. And here's the thing, every time you reach for that big, huge Kirkland bottle of honey, it may not be any better than just grabbing a big jug of flippin' corn syrup. Number 7, American Choice Clover Honey. This company targeted health-conscious shoppers with premium packaging, clean labels, natural colors, minimalist design. Again, appearance isn't the proof. Clover Honey. Sometimes you don't need famous marketing, you just need an honest name and an honest label. One that just makes you feel like this is solid, it's an American option. And this is the thing, seniors will pick this up left and right because it feels familiar, because they feel like they've seen it on the shelves before the big corporations got involved. Because American means domestic, and domestic means local beekeepers. We're talking about real pollen from real flowers, probably a place that you could actually visit. And here's the thing, when they ran tests on this, they checked for pollen. It wasn't a medium amount of pollen, it wasn't a little bit of pollen, it was 0 pollen detected. Meaning we don't know where this came from, we don't know what country it came from, 0 proof. Moving right along, Archer's Farms. We're talking about going to a different store thinking you're getting better, Target. So think about it, Archer Farms. When you see this thing, you don't feel like you're getting fancy advertising, you're feeling like you're buying a jug of honey that just came from a local farm. The label just seems quaint, it seems familiar, it seems soft. A honey label that you would see just on a random kitchen label. A label you'd see on a random kitchen side country living magazine cover. That feeling is advertising. That feeling is business. It has nothing to do with what's in the jar. Same tests, same problem. Pollen removed. Origin untraceable. You have no idea where this stuff came from. Organic label. All the labeling tricks. Exactly what Walmart does. It's the same trick. Here's who their target audience is. The millennial shoppers. People that know that there's a problem out there with ingredients, with labeling, so they're looking for something better. A deliberate choice, moving away from Great Value and Kirkland. So they go to Target. They pick the thing that looks natural. They pick the thing that looks a little bit more real. They paid a little bit more money. Beautiful promises, they thought it was the right move. Same problem, pretty packaging, but at the end of the day, still an empty promise. 2 more brands and then the ones worth buying. Kroger store brand honey, the neighborhood brand store. Betrayal. Another reoccurring theme was ultra filtration, because some consumers specifically look for crystal clear honey. And this place is not a discount retailer. It is your local grocery store, the one that you can trust. We're talking about the one where the butcher actually knows your name, where you've been doing your weekly shopping for years. And I know Kroger's big. They've got locations in nearly every city in the United States. It feels local, right guys? But again, it is a big, big corporation. So as you guys know, Kroger's kind of weaving into your way of life. It feels familiar. It's nothing like a Walmart or a Costco, but it is a corporation, even though it feels like your local store. So what comes with Kroger is like a level of trust, which makes this one sting a little extra much. So their honey was listed in the same class action lawsuits, along with Nature Mates, Busy Bee honey. The allegations were consistent with every single other thing on this list. Ultra filtered honey, pollen removed, origin absolutely impossible to verify, which means your local place selling the same honey as the big manufacturers, the warehouses, everything else. And the legal response was motion to dismiss. No open chain supply records, no local bee partnerships to display, just arguing that the lawsuit should not proceed. We're talking about store and shoppers. Trusting by habit. Think about that. Number 10, store brand generic honey. Bottom of the shelf. No name, no story, no big corporation. Simple, minimal labeling, and a cost so low makes you wonder. Sometimes it's CVS, sometimes it's Walgreens, the local places. Here's the thing, they don't have the huge corporations. They don't have the list of attorneys to protect themselves. Just a simple label, untraceable, unmarkable. When there's no reputation at stake, it eliminates a lot of risk. High volume, low cost, generics is where a lot of this statistics, zero traceability. Corn syrup, rice syrup, and imported products laundered through second and third countries and packed into plain jars, plain labels with no questions intact. So check your pantry. No certification, no country of origin. What are we looking for? Real honey, one that actually doesn't remove the pollen, and that's where it tells us where it comes from. Evidence that the bees were actually involved. Listen, the thing is when pollen is gone, there is no way to trace the origin. There's no way to trace that it's actually flipping real. Listen, 2 brands are actually doing it right for sure. But before we get to that, how to spot real honey at home, things you can do. Fill a glass with cold water. Put a tablespoon of honey in the bottom of the glass. The honey will sink to the bottom of the glass. It'll hold its shape. It won't go anywhere. The honey that's thinned with corn syrup, rice syrup, and all that, it spreads immediately and clouds the water. You don't need a lab. All you need is a kitchen to perform these tasks. Put it in a bowl, cold water, spin it around. The honey will stay at the bottom. Corn syrup and rice syrup will disappear almost immediately. The evidence is visible and apparent. You'll know right away. Here's the other thing. Crystallization test. Real honey will crystallize. It's not going to look beautiful and perfect and clear all the time. And corn syrup and rice syrup, which resists the natural crystallization. Pure honey gets grainy and thick over time. It's what it's supposed to do. So likely the pollen was removed. Watch for the words blended and ultra filtered and heated. Those are admissions. Those are not preparation methods. Real beekeeping is expensive, and big corporations don't like expensive. 4 tests you guys can do at home. Do it tonight before you go to bed. 2 brands that passed every single test. Local Hive. QR code changes everything. Local Hive comes across as super legit. It's got traceability, documented supply chain audit. You will see exactly where that honey came from on the back of the jar. Pollen is attacked. Origin is traceable. Raw, unfiltered. Some jars are darker. Some jars are lighter. It's the real thing. You might be able to find it at Whole Foods, Sprouts, possibly online. If I find links for these 2, I will put it down in the description and the pinned comment. Number 2 is Wetherspoon Raw Manuka Honey. Honestly, it ain't cheap, but it's really good. So they made this honey after one thing that could not be screwed up, K factor, which means it's actually a pollen count. Sourced from New Zealand, non-GMO certified. It does not pour like syrup because it is not syrup. This is legitimate, real honey. There you have it. Hopefully I brought you guys value. Please share this out. Let me know if I didn't mention something about honey that you guys...
Grocery stores just officially started rolling out a brand new AI grocery cart that has cameras on it that watches every single thing that you grab and tracks every single aisle that you walk down. These are actually Instacart's caper carts, and they've got a camera not only pointed directly at your basket, but also another one facing right at you, plus scales and location tracking built right into the handle. These carts or buggies are already in over 100 cities across 15 different states right now in stores like Kroger, ShopRite, and Wegmans. They're saying that these carts watch everything that you put in it and tracks your exact spot in the store the entire time that you're shopping. Brands like General Mills are currently paying to give you ads the second that you grab something or walk past the aisle, and it runs on AI that's trained on 1.6 billion different grocery orders. Then people asked Instacart how long they keep the footage, whether or not it's running facial recognition on you or not, and then whether you can turn it off and still use the cart, but they wouldn't answer any of it. Hello? So happening right now, they are literally putting cameras on your face at the grocery store that knows what you buy, where you stood, and how you reacted to every single ad. But no.
Lots of road work all up and down. And then my husband notices, what is that right there? They're putting up flock cameras right here. This first one, I noticed going down to Moe's. And then over here, same intersection, you have two.
Road, but video was fake, but if it's real, this could easily be the end of flock safety. This week we received a video that is most likely a flock camera pointed directly at a pool in a homeowners association. No cars in sight, just families enjoying their day. And sadly, this is not the first time. Other pictures have been circulating on Reddit of what appears to be another camera also aimed directly at a pool. One's on the X platform that show them on bike paths, and even one's facing children's playgrounds. And it gets scarier. Flock has easily built one of the largest surveillance networks in America with almost 100,000 cameras. They started as license plate readers on the road, but they are clearly much more than that. They aren't even hiding the expansion. They sell a camera called the Condor, a pan-tilt zoom unit that can automatically zoom in on people as they walk by. And cameras can clearly be seen on DFlock, a crowdsourced site that maps flock cameras, including some in pedestrian areas. All of this was pitched to make our communities and roads safer, but what is actually done is build a surveillance network watching people in the places where cars never go.
If you see a traffic barrel on the side of the highway, it might be watching you. The Associated Press just exposed a secret border patrol program that is monitoring millions of U.S. drivers. They're hiding license plate readers inside of traffic safety equipment to track your movements without you knowing. Using AI to analyze your travel patterns, if the algorithm thinks your driving looks suspicious, like driving on back roads or making short trips, it flags you. Then they tell local police to pull you over. They call it a whisper stop. The cop will say it's for speeding or window tint, but they're actually hunting for intelligence. Former Border Patrol officials confirm that the agency has tried to keep any mention of the surveillance program out of court documents and police reports, even going so far as proposing dropping charges rather than risk revealing any details about how the surveillance works.
According to the CEO of Flock, if you even try to map where his cameras are in your city, you're a terrorist.
Unfortunately, there's terroristic organizations like DFlock, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else.
This is pretty ironic coming from the guy who proudly says he's putting hundreds of thousands of cameras across America.
But to your point, we have really three broad buckets of technology. We have devices that detect evidence. So, we mentioned a camera that focuses on car. We have cameras that focus on people. We have gunshot detection. That's really like things that capture that evidence. And then we have AI that decodes it. So one of the problems that we create unintentionally is, well, if you have 100 license plate readers, you now have a lot of information. How do you decode that with AI? And so we have a product we call Freeform that allows you to type in English language heuristics, something like, I'm looking for a Ford F-150 from the 1990s with a racing stripe and rust on the front. And we'll find that car. And
they're not even hiding the surveillance state anymore. They're building it in plain sight. Hell, even the name Flock fits perfectly with Animal Farm, a George Orwell book about a totalitarian state. But it somehow gets even worse. The CEO openly admits that many of his own customers don't even know which type of Flock camera they have. That's important because these aren't just license plate readers. Some of them can also capture audio and collect digital signals from nearby devices.
This particular device does not have a camera in it. It has a very sensitive microphone connected to AI. It listens for, quote, sounds of distress. The only way it can detect sounds of distress is if it's always listening. And then what is the threshold for a sound of distress is a matter of policy. When the news segment aired, they showed me sharing my concerns about how this technology is going to be used.
In cities like Atlanta, you're almost always on camera. There's reportedly about one camera for every 10 people.
Atlanta has more surveillance cameras per person than anywhere in the U.S.
It's definitely very observable that you are being watched.
On the way here, I think I passed 20 Flock cameras. So my car was tracked 20 times just getting here. And the question is, do we really want to be living in this type of community where surveillance is now the answer to public safety?
But here's where it gets really disturbing. The CEO keeps insisting these cameras exist to keep everyone safe.
If we're successful, which knock on wood, we'll keep up that path. In 10 years from now, America as a country is a dramatically different place. It is a place where crime doesn't exist, where people are starting businesses and they're building families. And they will largely look back and they'll be, my kids will be in high school and in the U.S. history book, there'll be a part about Flock and how because of Flock, we are a safer, happier, healthier company. How because of Flock, we are a safer, happier, healthier country.
Then how do you explain officers allegedly using them to stalk their exes or to intimidate innocent people?
The scariest part about the 18 cops so far found to use the Flock system to stalk their exes, but it wasn't just their exes they were stalking. And we're not just talking looking up license plates a couple of times. This one police chief in Kansas alone ran his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend's license plates hundreds of times, using the information to then hunt them down.
You have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Right now, you're watching body camera footage of a police
officer wrongfully accusing an innocent woman of package theft at her Colorado home after he used flock evidence to target her.
Because you have not been honest with me, so I'm not going to extend you any courtesy of showing you a video when I don't need to.
But I can show you videos.
No, you cannot. I can show you.
Okay, show me then.
No, you're not being honest with me.
Now watch this. A journalist shows just how easy it is to hack one of these cameras.
None of the data or video footage was encrypted. There was no username or password required. These were all completely public facing for the world to see, and some of them still are. You don't have to be an expert to find and gain access to this.
He also demonstrates how they're programmed to lock onto things like your phone or even your face.
And rollerblade and then take a break to watch rollerblading videos on his phone. How? Because the camera's AI automatically zoomed in on it. Just like it zoomed in on a couple arguing at a street market in Atlanta. So what? They're still anonymous, right? No.
And these cameras aren't just on highways anymore. They're showing up next to playgrounds and public beaches, places where children play and where families go to relax.
Pretty interesting. If you want to come down and have a beautiful day at the beach, you are going to be tracked coming in and coming out. There's one over there, and there's this one here. These are the flock tag readers, and they're at every single beach approach.
You watch your TV, but with this hack, your TV can watch you. Show us how that works.
So one of the things that we were able to do with the Smart TV platform was actually abuse the browser to the extent that we could actually gain access to the camera that's built into the TV.
Right.
And so what we can prove here is that with a little bit of extra code, we can turn the camera on in your browser.
Wow.
And while this is evident to you right here because we've designed it that way, this is something that we can do invisibly and actually have the camera running behind the web page that you're looking at.
So what this means is I could be sitting here watching TV from my bedroom, and you could be anywhere in the world looking at this image of me watching.
Your smart TV is probably spying on you by taking screenshots once per second and uploading those images back to the manufacturer for marketing analysis via AI tools. The smart TVs aren't taking screenshots of things that play through their built-in apps like Netflix or Hulu, but rather they will take screenshots from any HDMI device.
I know people like to say that movies aren't real, but they're always telling us they're playing in the movies, aren't they? Y'all, please hit the like, share this video out so it gets out to more people. Push me out in the analytics, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Y'all, take care, stay safe, stay prayed up.
Give me God's eye.
God's eye active.
Good. Let's find us a Russian. I spy with my little eye, Minister of Defense. He's in the third car. It's a guard class limousine. No one's ready for this. I want every chip with a zero-day exploit in a 2-mile radius around that motorcade now.
There's over 1,000 of them.
Hack them all.
I've got 2 important videos here that I want to play that I think are important just to be aware of the different things going on right now, mainly in the economy and even with food situation from the Mormon church. So we'll watch these 2 videos, just get a little insight, not to scare you, but for you to be aware of different things going on. This first one is titled, "The LDS Church Just Sent America a Warning." This is from the One Row.
A few weeks ago, the LDS Church, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, quietly distributed millions of pounds of food across the United States. Most people who saw it treated it as like a warm humanitarian story. And in a way it is. It's a church doing good things, nice. However, I want to suggest to you that that's exactly the wrong way of looking at it. Because the LDS Church doesn't operate a casual food pantry. They operate one of the most sophisticated food procurement, storage, and distribution networks in the entire country. They have been doing this for nearly a century. They have visibility into food insecurity across America that almost no other organization has, including the federal government. Now, in this video, I'm not telling you the world is ending. I'm not trying to sell you buckets of freeze-dried food or anything else. But I'm here to tell you that when an organization with the infrastructure at that level and visibility into what's actually happening across the different states here in the United States, and they make a move like this, a prepared citizen pays attention. So today we're going to talk about why this particular story matters, what actually is happening to the food supply right now, and exactly what you and your family should be doing starting right now.
These 2 videos are related. They kind of touch on the same subjects, different things happening in the economy, in the world, that are playing into these different situations, which is making, such as the Church of Latter-day Saints, a Mormon church, to be sending out a massive amount of food to a lot of people. That church prepares. That's one of the big things that they do is they prepare, they stock up food. And so the fact that they're sending out a massive amount of food to a lot of people around the nation from, their storages or whatever, is just going to show that it shows that a lot of people are in need right now. And why is that? Well, we'll continue to see the different things happening right now that is leading to this.
But before we get into the broader picture, I want to make sure that you understand why the LDS Church specifically matters in this conversation. Now, if you have religious differences with them, cool, no worries. For the context of this discussion, it doesn't matter, whatever your religious beliefs are, because if you're not familiar with the food infrastructure of the LDS Church, it's easy to dismiss this as a big, church from across the country doing charity work. And that's true, they are, but I think there's a lot more to the story than that. Because you see, the LDS Church has been practicing and teaching food storage and preparedness to the members of their church since the 1930s or even earlier. This is not a recent thing. For nearly 100 years, they've been telling their members to maintain a long-term food storage or food supply, and they've built an entire infrastructure across the country to support that principle. So what they do is they operate what are called bishop storehouses. They're regional food distribution centers that distribute food to members and other community members in need. They have canneries, they've got farms, granaries, grain storage infrastructure, and a procurement network for other food that is really, really impressive. And most critically, because they are actively engaged in feeding people across the country on an ongoing basis, they have real-time visibility into food insecurity that most organizations simply don't have. They see it through their bishops at the local level, and they see it through their storehouses. They see it through the requests that are coming in from the members and other people in their community who the church happens to be supporting.
That's right.
That is what they do every single day, and the vast majority of people in the public don't see it. And they literally just moved about an estimated 10 million pounds of food across all 50 states. And for them to distribute this much food to their communities, again, across 50 different states, that to me is a signal. And as prepared people, we pay attention to signals and to news stories that aren't getting as much attention as they should. Now, let's talk about why the signal matters.
So that is a massive signal. I mean, when one organization or one group of people store up tons of food, and that's one of the things they do, and they give it out to people in need, and they just do a massive amount of that because so many people are in need. It just goes to show things are changing, things are happening. Why is that? And the things that he touches upon in this video are very similar to what is touched upon in this video here. You have 45 days left from the economic ninja, where we see the different things happening in the economy and in the world, and how these are playing into the reason why probably the LDS Church is sending out so much food to different people. Again, not to scare you, but for you to be on alert, to be in preparation. Make smart preparations for the different things about just what you would need in the future. It's wise to have some food on hand that you would actually eat in a situation where food was more scarce or more expensive. If there is a time of this happening, or what we're seeing with the Strait of Hormuz closed, the wars, different things with the economy. We're seeing markets fluctuating massively right now. So if these different things are going on and food prices go up, then it helps to have a little bit of food on hand. While food is cheaper at the moment than it has, or not food, sorry, gas is cheaper at the moment than it was a few weeks ago. Smart to keep more in the tank because it could go up again. These are just wise decisions to make. The Bible tells us, the wise person sees trouble coming and makes preparation. The fool does nothing and is destroyed. So it's just wise, we don't put our hope and our trust in food storages or anything like this, but to see the different things going on, plan for the future. This guy gets into the different things in regards to the economy and stuff, and that is wise too. Look at what's going on and prepare, and just at least be aware of what could come and make, smart preparations, wise preparations.
In the next 45 days, you are going to witness a complete 180-degree flip of the American consumer. People are going to go from grumbling that prices are high to panicking, along with the stock market and Wall Street, that this is bad, it's getting worse, and they're going to start to panic. I want to show you about two convergences following today's economic data that came out showing that the inflation number hit 4.2%. And they're going to tout gas and oil prices all day long in this. Just like I said, this is going to be the narrative that comes out in July's economic numbers when companies are reporting their quarterly earnings. But it's a bigger story than that, because in July, there is a confluence happening where these numbers are going to flip from oil and gas to food, and it's going to get scary for a lot of people. And I've been telling people to stock up on a little bit of food. Also, the price of lending is going to skyrocket. If you've got a mortgage over 6.5%, a hard money loan, You need to right now, or you're a business owner that's trying to buy a house and you're about to overpay. There's a link below. I dare you to find lower rates. But this is the problem. The 10-year bond keeps rising. It's going to go over 5% because of geopolitical issues with Japan, India, and a handful of other countries. So where do we start? Let's talk about this 45 days. It's very simple. Today's numbers came out showing that inflation had hit 4.2%, which was, in CNBC's numbers, the highest level in more than 3 years. Now, we remember 3 years ago, there was complete chaos. After COVID, there were inflation numbers skyrocketing, and people were under a lot of stress. And when that inflation happened, the Fed had to start raising rates. Well, currently, the Federal Reserve does not have to raise rates, and the reason why is because the bond market is doing it for them. It is severely slowing down lending, even though there are people out there right now with 7 and 8% mortgages that are feeling so much pain only because they wanted to become homeowners and be a part of the American dream, which I don't blame you. And I think everyone should go out and buy a house if you can afford it, right? Not going crazy with your money and spending more than the average rent would be in the area. But my point being is that those inflation numbers, as they shot up 3 years ago, the Fed had to raise rates. As of right now, the bond market is slowly creeping up because of geopolitical threats. But a real threat still remains that if inflation does what I believe it's going to do in July and August, people are going to panic. They're going to start looking for the Fed to do something about this, and they're going to have to start raising rates. And that's going to get nutball.
There's a lot of different things going on. What he was mentioning too is happening about the yen and the US dollar. There's things going on. Multiple currencies are going much lower in their value. At the same time, we've been seeing like the crypto market going down massively, even stock markets affected and stuff. And it looks like, Bitcoin is taking a massive swing. It looks like a cycle. This could even be, in regards to crypto, like a low before it goes to another massive high. But it's just showing that there is just volatility in the world all over the place, right? At the same time, markets are collapsing. We're seeing this. Now there's like a new chairman at the Fed. Stock markets are crashing, or stock markets are going lower. Crypto market totally crashing big time, right? The new Fed chairman and stuff. And it's like, there's just a lot of different things going on. So it's smart to be aware of these different things. Prepare for the future. Be wise and just be on alert. Know these things are happening. A lot of this stuff is theory. Things never really come true to exact predictions, but it's good to look at this stuff, to be aware of what's happening, right? Because these things make a difference on prices, on what's going on the future, how things are affected, interest rates, all this stuff.
So there's this chart that CNBC put out, and don't worry about reading it right now. I'll explain something. You'll see all of these blue numbers. These are foods, things like that. This is your energy sector. This is what blew up, these massive yellow bars.
Right, for
energy
data centers.
It says here, this is the year-over-year percentage change in the consumer price index. It says energy went up 23.5%, and gasoline, all types of gasoline went up 40.5%. So that's where everyone's focusing. Okay, and this is what they're thinking. Okay, it's gonna be fine. Trump's gonna fix this. I'm not even gonna say it out loud. He's gonna fix it. Well, he's the reason why this is here. True. And what's happening is this is going to turn into this number, even if, let's say, a miracle happens and everything's good. Iran war's over. We did it. We crushed it. I don't care about fuel prices. That's what he said. I don't care about them. It's okay. I don't even drive my own car. I don't care. Here's the deal. Those fuel prices right now are adding to everybody's grocery bills, because the groceries are on trucks coming to they're being made at the plants, they're being put in packages, and they're on trucks going to your grocery store. And the store prices today reflect contracts and purchases that happened 30 days ago or even longer. So in the future, those fuel prices, even if the war stops and energy drops, it's not going to drop like you think it may. It's going to translate into higher food prices this summer. And what that's going to do is utterly put the last nail in the coffin of the American consumer. This is what we have been preparing for ever since I started this channel 5 years ago. When I started the channel, I said, I'm going to take people through a full economic cycle. Because when I started the channel, we were in the middle of this amazing euphoria because all this money was being printed and sprinkled amongst the middle class and the poor of America from COVID. And I'd explained how I'd been through two other cycles, the dot-com boom and bust and the subsequent fallout. And that's when I started buying real estate during that crash. Then I sold at the peak of that. and I witnessed all of the carnage of the Great Recession and witnessed the printing of money and sprinkling amongst the poor and middle class of that crash. I bought precious metals and ran that thing up, and then I took that money, ran up the crypto cycle, and here we are. And
what I do want to point out there is what he mentioned. These things, all these things, if you look at the history of all this stuff that he just mentioned, and just anything really, a lot of these things happen in cycles. So don't even be worried, really. I mean, there will come a day when everything will completely change forever. We don't know when that is. And so until then, just be aware that there are a lot of different cycles happening. Some things are going to go down a lot. Some things are going to go up a lot. And it's smart to be aware of the different things and how they're going to go, and just be on alert and even look at the past and the history. And you can kind of see trends of, okay, it goes down a lot at this point, and here it's going to go up. Just to be on alert. You know, there's a lot of different things, right? A lot of different things to pay attention at this stuff. And we're just seeing how it's all affected. But I just wanted to point that out there because these cycles do happen. Different cycles happen. So kind of take a look at the history of things, see where they could go, see where they're at now. They could go down more. The predictions may not all be right in either direction. They could find some relief. They could go down even farther than people are expecting on all these different things. And, you know, the big thing mainly is really how it affects all of us is how is this going to affect the food prices, the grocery store, the gasoline prices, because that is something that's affecting everyone. Just keep in mind, be aware that these different things are going on.
Now we're at the top of the peak as assets are already starting to fall. Real estate, high-end real estate's completely crashing down. The $3 million and up market is down 35%. The $1.5 million market and up is down 20%. And then you're seeing the median home prices, no matter what the National Association of Realtors are telling you, the St. Louis Fred, that data that is published in Solid is already down 10% nationally. So we are at a point where we're now about to start the cascade. And the only thing you need for that recipe is a public that panics. Okay? Can you guys do me a favor? Can I get a witness? Say amen if you agree with what I'm saying. You can see this. Maybe you don't understand how it works, the nuts and bolts, but you feel it. You see things aren't right. You see things that are wrong, you talk to people and they go, I have no clue what you're talking about. Trump's our guy. It's like they don't know. And you're like, this is where the complete chaos begins. And this is the summer. So now I talked about at the beginning of the video, 2 convergences that were happening. Sorry, I'm getting dry mouth. I got nothing to drink. I need a coffee. No coffee this morning yet. All right. So actually, I don't need coffee. I digress. Let's talk about these 2 convergences. So you've got a time where seasonally, every summer, fuel gets more expensive. It's because people are off of school, kids are out of school, they got vacation time, they're traveling, so there's more demand, and it's just a really sneaky, easy way for the elites to just make more money. Type 1 if that pisses you off, but it's true, right? You can all piss us off, but it's true. So I'm at this point where I'm looking at all this, I'm going, all right, what do we do?
That's something to keep in mind too, is that this is happening with the prices on stuff. And it happens in these different cycles all the time. And a lot of the time it's just happening because they know the demand is high. And so they want to milk people and rinse people for more money, which is just completely insane. These same people are doing that. These people shipping jobs over here, taking jobs away, destroying communities with data centers, are doing the same thing just for a little more money. It makes us all mad. It's ridiculous.
Do now with what we've got? Well, that's a guaranteed. It always happens every single year, right? From Memorial Day to Labor Day, fuel prices go up. Well, that's one issue. The second issue is you've got this war. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about a third one. This is like a triple Lindy. You know, no one's ever attempted that since 1986. All right, sorry. Tell me what movie that's from, the triple Lindy. So the second convergence is the war with Iran, right? And the Strait of Hormuz blocked. So it's blocking goods and services. So we've got, no joke, oil prices skyrocketing, but we've also got this fertilizer crisis, which has already affected national farmers. There are a lot of
Here's the problem here that I really do think was back to what he was mentioning here, why the LDS Church is sending out so much food across the nation at levels that are very big. A lot of it is due to what he's mentioning here. Strait of Hormuz, the oil prices, how that's affecting trucking, how that's affecting shipping, And then that stuff all trickles down to the grocery store, which is probably why the church is sending out food to so many people across the nation.
A lot of farmers I've heard that have said, we've just planted less. We planted less, concentrated more onto the land that we're planting, the fertilizer, so we get a full crop. There's just a handful of acres we're not planting.
Sorry to pause, but this is true. This has happened too. A lot of wheat farmers in America, it was something huge in massive numbers, like 40%, I think we're saying, they were planting a smaller crop. A lot of them were saying that they were having to abandon some of the crop that they already planted because it just doesn't make sense with fertilizer costs and fuel costs to even harvest the rest of their wheat. And they're just abandoning what they already planted. That is going to trickle down too. All this stuff will trickle down. Not to scare you, to prepare you, plan and expect. And we don't know. That's why if you do decide to take any sort of preparations or precautions, and if you do even decide to make preparations of buying something extra for the potential of the costs rising, buy stuff that you will actually use. Because hopefully this doesn't happen. Hopefully there are solutions and things that come forth out of this, some sort of solution. But so that if you have it, then you can use it. Something that you will actually use. So keep that in mind. Don't get something that you'll just end up throwing away because you don't want it and it's cheap or canned food or something. Get something you'll actually use. And, prices just go up anyway. That's just the trend of it. Hopefully they'll go down, but it just seems that they just go up and up and they never go back down. So at least if it's something you'll use, you'll save money in the long run because you bought it at a cheaper price. Hopefully prices go down, but it seems like they don't.
So that's going to cause higher food prices this summer. The third part of the triple Indy aspect of this is that you've got economies and currencies actually crashing in real time. The Japan yen, the Indian rupee, those two major currencies are actually crashing right before our eyes. It's not good because there's so many different carry trades, trade imbalances and issues, selling of our bonds that are happening all at once, converging on the US dollar, which is making the US dollar, as a matter of fact, let me just Google this right now. The DXY index, I'll bet you it is pretty strong right now. Let me see here. It's putting pressure on the index. So as of right now, it's like nominal. It's not really doing anything, but let me pull it back. So let's just say, a 6 month. Where are we at 6 months? All right, check it out. I'm just doing this live. 6 months, we're almost at an all-time high, right? So since the war has started, people and countries and businesses are buying dollars and they are not buying bonds. That's another thing that's really important to note. You see, when bond rates go up, it's because people aren't buying them. So whoever is issuing a bond because they just want to issue debt because they're broke, they sit there and they go, oh crap, nobody's buying our debt. That's exactly what the government says. Oh crap, what are we going to do? And it's like, well, you got to raise rates. Government, stop being stupid. Like, okay, we're just going to raise rates. And they raise rates just on those bond auctions, not like the Federal Reserve raising them. I hope you get what I'm saying. This is that moment where I was like warning, like a week ago, I told people looking to refinance and had high rates. I'm like, you better do it now. Lock it in right now. And like 40 people locked in. And then all of a sudden the 10-year just boom, jumped. Well, the scary thing is there's a moment right now where it's going to go even higher. And people need to get out of hard money loans. Let me ask you this. I'm just curious. There's like 800 people on the live stream. And this is not judging at all because people buy and sell real estate or buy assets using hard money because they work for themselves and they can't get traditional financing, which go and take a look at that link because they've got a 12-month bank statement loan out. Just go check it out. But anyway, who here has hard money loans? Put me, just type me. And there's no judgment at all. If there's anybody in this place that has hard money loans, I encourage you, I implore you to take a look at that company and then go try and get some other companies to beat their rates because it is vital. If your mortgage is over 6.5%, lock this crap down right now because what you're going to see with this panic is going to be higher rates. A Paul Volcker moment is coming to our country. And what the sad thing is, there's too many people on both sides that have Trump derangement syndrome. People that voted for Trump, I voted for Trump, I'm not deranged though. I'm still logical. There are people like, he's going to save everything. We're going to make a golden altar. They've already done that. They made a golden statue of him. And we're going to do everything. He's our, dude. And then you've got the opposite people that can't hear his name without melting down. And a pacifier works really fast. You just shove it in their mouth. They'll shut up. But my point.
It's too bad more people aren't at least seeing that the both sides of it, right? The both sides of that are ridiculous. When you go to the totally Trump's our savior in every aspect, or you go to the he's the worst thing ever, and you just mentioned his name and he's done no good, which isn't true either. It's like, come on, it's somewhere in the middle here. Like that there's a lot of that people just need to get back and realize. Hopefully this is helping people. I know this is a little different than what I normally, cover on, but it is related to stuff and it affects people's lives. And so I hope this helps.
Well, because you got it on both sides. And so everyone believes that loves Trump goes, oh, he just got a new Fed chair and he's going to lower rates. Are you high as a kite? He's not going to lower your rates. It would induce a hyperinflation because there are still enough people that are nutball. None of you guys, obviously, you're awesome. Oh, and everyone, thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button again. You've really been helping me out because people are like, I've been unsubscribed. You just hit it again and you show the algorithm. We'll just shove it up the algorithm's tailpipe. Let's put it that way. But my point being is that I don't know. I've lost my train of thought. I guess I better just go. I can't wait to start sharing stories about people that locked in a lower rate. Like, this is the coolest thing ever because we're able to show people how to save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. And there are people out there with 8% mortgages that are getting refinanced for, actually, I've already been told for, in some cases, no costs because they have great credit. And this is what I was talking about a long time ago. I'm like, you got it during this crash that's coming. You got to have great credit because it'll pay 10 times over in what you need to do with your money before everything goes. And I'm just excited. I just love this crap. I'm making people money, saving people money. It's rad. I love what I do for a living. So anyway, have an awesome day.
So there you go. A lot of that, whoever that's for, hopefully that will help you with the interest rates and the things going on. And I like that he ended that off with a positive note of we can see where some of these things are going. We can look at some of the trends. We can prepare for how things are crashing and the bottoms that they're going to hit, and then how they're going to rebound. There are cycles that are happening, and we can wisely be prepared for them and prepare ahead of time, get extra things when things are cheaper, until things maybe hopefully get lower again in the future. When things go down in the moment, get those things that are, we can get them at the lower price. Just plan, just be wise of the different stuff that is happening. This isn't to say it's all about to burn to the ground. It's about to be civil war, everything's falling apart. We hope that that's not the case, but with the different things happening, like he mentioned, in the economy, and then at the same time, LDS Church sending out a lot of food to people across America, maybe even the world, how these things could be connected because of the stuff, probably mainly a lot of it going back to what's going on in Iran, in the Middle East. Sadly, it's making a massive effect on the nation. So hopefully that helps.
I am literally so sick of y'all not listening to me when I tell you there's a reason that my husband and I are preppers. If you don't know, my husband is United States Marine Corps veteran, and we have been prepping for many, many years. The time is right now. You do not have any more time to wait. You need to prep right now.
So NATO just issued a stark warning. They said if you live in the United States, that you better start preparing. That's right. Have you seen the news? They specifically mentioned Russia and terror groups preparing for nuclear war. I feel like they know something that we don't know. They said the first 36 hours are crucial. If you can get through the first 36 hours, that you might be okay, but you got to be prepared for this. And I'm really curious what the hell we're supposed to be prepared for. They said that everybody should have food, water, batteries, and flashlights. And he specifically said that not everything is going to be smooth sailing over the next 20 years, that we need to be prepared. But my question is, why are they telling this to us now? And this is the first time I saw this. This was actually NATO telling us this. To be prepared, be alert, be ready, have food, have supplies, have batteries, have water, and be prepared. Well, what do they know that they're not telling us? That's the thing that I want to know. Is it something to do with Iran? Is it something to do with the United States? There's so many questions.
Is anyone else doing some low-key prepping because of how crazy the world is? I haven't built a bunker or anything, but if the infrastructure were to break down right now, like an EMT turned off all the power, I could have water for a long time. I got some of those cool little life straws, and I got a thing that'll start fires, and I got some books, so I could trap animals now and know how to do some other things like that, but I'd still be doomed at the moment. But I'm going to keep adding to it a little at a time just in case. Has any of the non-prepper people out there started being just a little bit prepper?
I've seen 4 videos today with the exact same context, all saying to prepare, that you need to have 30 to 90 days worth of food in your pantry, like dry goods and like canned goods. But nobody is saying what we're preparing for. In all honesty, if there's like something we're preparing for, could y'all fill me in? I have 2 kids and a husband. Like, what do I need to prepare for? And also, what else should I get if I'm preparing for something besides food? Are we like stocking up on toilet paper again and like toothpaste? Or what are we doing and why?
For those of you who might be dabbling with a little bit of prepping, getting your pantry really stocked, I'm just curious, like, what's the most unhinged thing you have in your pantry? I am fully prepped and stocked. This is kind of a new journey for me, and I'm all now going to Costco, doing some shopping online. What am I forgetting to purchase?
What do I think we should all be preparing for right now? I laugh not because it's funny, but just because that is such a loaded question. There's just so much going on right now. But I think the easiest way to try and figure out how to prepare is think about how expensive your groceries are. Think about how expensive your bills are, your electric, your basic hygiene, your doctor's appointments, and imagine that doubling, you know, worst case scenario, maybe tripling, but just basically getting more expensive. And how can you make your life easier to where you can weather that, meaning that you can still afford things?
Listen, to all the people that keep saying nothing is going to happen, no one is going to do anything about this, I promise you, something is about to happen. What I have experienced over the course of the last 2 days, I don't think I've ever experienced anything like this. The closest that I've experienced would be right after 9/11. If you are old enough to remember what it was like, it was total uniformity. There was flags everywhere. America was totally aligned in one mission. That is what this country is. The amount of DMs, I cannot keep up with the amount of people DMing me right now asking to get organized. This is insane. Think about all of the rage and everything that happened in 2020. This is 100 times that. People are getting madder and madder, and nobody's doing anything to quell their anger. Nothing is happening. People are just getting more and more upset. Seriously, think about this. Every conspiracy theorist that you've ever known, which we can't even call them that ever, but there's always been in your group, in your friend group, in your coworker group, there's always been a conspiracy theorist. And what happened? Did they just stop when you made fun of them? Did they just give up? No, they just got madder and madder. It becomes part of their identity. Once you know, you can't unknow. Once you know the insane injustice that is happening, you can't unknow. That's what's happening. That's what's happening to everybody in this whole country. I promise you, something is going to happen.
See, this is why I think they're going to shut down the grid, dude. Because what's going to happen is the unity voice is going to get so loud, and then they're just going to shut the whole thing down, because it's like flipping the game table over, right? Like, you know you're going to lose, you're about to lose, you're like, F it. And you flip the game over, and that's what they're going to do, bro. Yeah. They have the ability to do it. You better start thinking about what's going to happen if that happens.
Everybody keeps asking what they can do. Well, I may have a solution, somebody may have a better idea, but this is what I got. I don't normally ask people to like and share videos, but I'm going to ask you here on this one to get it to the people who can organize this and get it where it needs to go. The people with the big platforms, some of the other groups that can actually organize an official date and time to kick this thing off, okay? So that's out of the way. What I want you to do is nothing. And if all of us do nothing together, we can make a difference. The game only works when people play it. And so we opt out. We pick a date. I have one in mind already, coming up relatively soon. But we got to get the word out. And we don't go to work. We don't go to school. We don't put gas in our cars. We don't eat at restaurants. We do nothing. We stay home. That's about as peaceful as you can get. You don't have to do anything, and you can still make a difference. So cops stay home, firefighters stay home, restaurant workers stay home. Everybody stays home that physically can. There's a few jobs that I won't mention here, but they know who they are, that they have to go to work. Like, for everybody, they have to go to work. Everybody else, we're staying home. We're not doing a damn thing. Now, it shouldn't take too long of doing nothing for the whole thing to come grinding to a halt. Will people lose their jobs? Yes, that's going to happen. Are there going to be consequences? Yeah, some foreseen, some unforeseen. But the consequences from this are far less severe than if we allow this to continue the way it's going.
Hi, I don't know what you've been doing. If you've been collecting supplies, water, extra container of Band-Aids, Neosporin, or you have upped it to maybe even getting a backup power generator. But if I were you, I would get into high gear. Things are not good right now. They're going to get worse. And you need to have something to fall back on. If you listen to no other videos that I've made, listen to this one.
Let me first say that I'm not an expert in this, but I have been reading and I have been listening to a lot of people way smarter than me, and I want to give you some small, bite-sized, practical things you can do. And number one, be prepared. Just like if there was going to be a snowstorm or a winter storm that you might be in your house for a little while. Rice and beans, people, that whole deal that we've talked about before. Number two, we have to build community. If you don't talk to your neighbors, now is the time to start. If you haven't talked to your neighbor across the street in 10 years and you think it's awkward now, get over it. Go knock on the door and say, hey, you want to have a cup of coffee? Hey, I want to take a walk around the block. Start neighborhood watches. Start phone trees. Start things like that, because we may lose access to information like this. So those are the first two baby steps. More's coming. And watch other creators, because I certainly don't have it all figured out. I will share with you what I learn, because I love my family. Go love your neighbor.
How long do we honestly think this level of corruption, instability, and moral decay can continue before something really breaks for good? History is not vague about this. Every major empire believed it was different. Rome, they thought they were permanent. So did the Ottoman Empire. So did Britain at its peak. They all had warning signs. Corruption at the top, complete loss of public trust, widening wealth gaps, social division, foreign conflicts, distracted citizens. Stability erodes slowly, then all at once. Civilizations, they don't collapse in a day. They rot from within until pressure exposes the weaknesses. And when confidence in institutions finally cracks, events accelerate fast. Financial shocks, civil unrest, supply chain disruption, power struggles. History shows this pattern over and over. And I'm sorry, but the lone wolf fantasy is a lie. Isolation is weakness. What survives collapse are skills, discipline, tight community. It's time to learn real survival skills, get real training, build strong local networks. We have to know our neighbors. We have to strengthen our family. Because when stress hits a nation, it doesn't reward comfort. It rewards the prepared and the united.
You are not preparing yourself in your personal life for the other shoe to drop, then you should be. I will be the first to admit that I thought preppers were crazy, because I, even with my background in history and learning, did not think that there was going to be any possibility of our society breaking down, which was stupid and arrogant. I will freely admit that. And let me just preface this by saying I know there are a lot of people who are really struggling right now and truly cannot afford to be preparing themselves. I understand that. I got you. I'm not trying to be rude, but understand that if shit truly pops off, there are going to be limited resources that government, cities, etc. are able to provide. And if you did not plan for it and you use up some of the resources that were meant for people who truly had nothing and cannot prepare the way that you can, come on.
Start storing water, and that doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to go buy bottles. Reuse stuff, your old milk jugs, your old soda bottles, just make sure you wash them out well. If you have an old pasta sauce jar or an old jelly jar, or you just have random Stanleys that you don't use anymore, fill those up with water. Next is, if you're able, you need to start working out. Think of it this way. If there was an emergency, somehow you found yourself in an unsafe situation, can you run away? Can you get yourself out if you had to, walk a few miles to maybe get home or something? Can you do that? And if you have kids, can you carry your kids? Can you get your kids out safely? If you have pets, can you carry your pets out safely? You want to remove yourself from any unsafe situations, and you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to get your kids, anyone relying on you, you need to be able to get them out as well. And the last thing we can all do is use the internet. It's free. Google, watch YouTube, rent books from the library, learn new skills, watch YouTube videos on cooking without power, or how to purify water, rent library books on how to repair cars. Make yourself useful, make your brain filled with knowledge that if something really bad happened, you can take care of yourself, but also give yourself a skill maybe to barter with or to make money with. Knowledge is free, and we have access to so much.
Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's a little warm today. Just a little on the warm side, which, I know it's summer. It's the beginning parts of summer. July is almost here, just a day away. So I guess it's not too terribly unusual. It's a little hot for this time of the year, but hey, that we'll suffer through it and we'll make it. But I tell you what is not normal is what's going on in the Pacific. I said in the last couple of days, we're in like week 3 now of really strange, earthquake and volcanic activity, along with the heat and the heat domes and, extremes and stuff like that. Today, it's been no different. The Pacific Ring of Fire has been very active. No major, I guess what you would consider major earthquakes, but still some significant ones. Lots of them. That's the thing. All around that Ring of Fire there in the Pacific. Everything from 4.5s up to 5.5s, 5.8s, 5.9s. So nothing really big, but it shows that there's still a lot of activity going on. And I don't know. I think that's something that we should be paying attention to. If some of you that's been in this for a long time knows that how important that could be. And so I think you should be paying attention and preparing. I don't know the eventual outcome of all this. It may just poof, go away and everything return to normal. Or it could be a significant indicator that we're about to see some major changes around the planet. Whether it's volcanic, significant volcanic activity could push us back into ice age type conditions. Maybe it's a pole shifting that's happening. I don't know. We could see the New Madrid fault line. I think that would probably be the more likely of the big fault lines that could go. Of course, the San Andreas could go also. But I just telling you, it's something to be paying attention to, because it's become quite active. Also, what's active? Middle East stuff is just... It's all over the place. The Iranians have sent notification that they will no longer be involved in any type of negotiations. They will not push forward with any type of peace negotiations until the original part of that MOU that was signed is upheld. And I am certainly not on their side, but they have a point. If you sign your name to a document, and that's the contract or the document, it's not a contract, but that's what the document says, then you should probably uphold your end of the bargain, and that's not being done. They've not released any funds to them. They've not, there's not been any changes with Israel and Lebanon. The United States still has military forces there in the Middle East, and we're saying that they can't control the Strait of Hormuz and all this kind of stuff. Again, I'm not in favor of those things happening. I wasn't in favor of those things being put on that MOU, but if you're going to sign it, you know, you just face the consequences of not upholding your end of the bargain. Israel is saying now that hostilities between them and Iran could happen as soon as tomorrow. Now, this just could be bluffing and talk and all that, but there's certainly indication that they are preparing for that. And there's still a lot of stuff going on between them and Lebanon. Israel says that they're going to stay in Lebanon until the threat of Hezbollah is gone. You know, and there's nothing that's going to change that. The interesting thing is there's a lot of reports today coming out of Israel that there have been numerous car bombings in Israel. Nothing that I can find that is official. And what I'm seeing posted and spoke about is that Israel is trying to suppress this information. So I want to be clear, it may not be happening, but there are reports of explosions, loud explosions throughout Israel, and reports of several, I don't know, I have no idea of a number, could be 2, could be 20, car bombings in Israel. If this is the case, if there's any level of truth to this whatsoever, you have to know that it has something to do with Iran and Hezbollah. And that could be the escalation. You know, the Minister of Defense was the one again today said that hostilities, you know, they could wage an attack as soon as tomorrow. It could be, you know, within 24 hours. So if they believe that that's who's doing this, or if it's a false flag to come up with an excuse or whatever, things could be changing very quickly in that arena. So I would be prepared for that. The Supreme Court did some rulings today. They're supposed to be working on coming up with a ruling on whether or not assault rifles are protected by the Constitution, by the Second Amendment. Now, for me here where I'm at, it wouldn't have any play because we have no restrictions on assault rifles. But there are states, California is the big one, that has restrictions on them. So this is mostly to do with the states that have those. But the biggest decision that came out was they made a decision on citizenship, on birthright citizenship. And they went the direction that the Trump administration and most conservatives did not want. They said that birthright citizenship is a constitutionally protected thing. So that if you enter this country, even illegally, and you have a child in this country, it automatically is a citizen of the United States. You can disagree with that all you want, but there's not a whole lot that can be done. The president says that he'll take it to Congress and get something changed. It takes a major act. It takes a lot for Congress to do something to overturn or to work around what the Supreme Court has done, has ruled on. And right now, Congress can't seem to get a bill out that, you know, decides on if the bathrooms need to be cleaned in the Capitol building. So I highly doubt, you know, it would almost take an amendment to the Constitution to change this. And I highly doubt that that's going to happen. So another big knock when it comes to illegals, because a lot, not all, but a lot that are in this country are birthright citizens. And even the ones that aren't, and this is, it just depends on who's running the show. A mother comes into the country illegally and she has a child here, and now the child's a citizen. It becomes more difficult to kick her out because she's the mother of this child and her child is a citizen. So, yeah, there's a great win for the destruction of this country. You know, over the weekend we had our monthly meeting, and before the meeting, several of us were discussing various things that's gone on in this country. Obviously, one of them was illegals. Debt was another. War, all the stuff. And we were all pretty much in agreement that, this has been orchestrated. And I know that the immediate default was, well, this is orchestrated by the far left. This is a Joe Biden, Barack Obama orchestrated mess. It's not that I don't want to blame them for anything, as I think you're giving them too much credit. Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they kicked out people that were illegal, but yeah, they let a lot of people in. But you know what? So did everybody else. I mean, the all-glorious Ronald Reagan was the one that gave millions of them, pardoned them, gave them immunity, allowed them to be here. And it's not just that. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. A lot of things are happening all at once in this country. And it may not look orchestrated. It may not look like there's a connection between illegals and far, far left Marxist, ideology and the degradation of religion and morality and the family unit and the extremely high debt and the collapsing dollar. They may not seem like all those things and others are connected, but I assure you that they are. And they are very connected. And with the advent of all this rapidly expanding technology, because they want the technology to be in place, because with the technology, they're able to control you. They're able to control everything, everyone, own everything, all the money, everything. I mean, even down to like your soul well, at least that's what they want. But the only way that they're going to get that stuff implemented in is if the world is in a really bad shape. No one is going to give over any level of sovereignty or independence to, a big brother system if things seem to be functioning. Even if they're not functioning well, as long as they're functioning, most people are going to say, you know what, it's not worth the change. It's not worth it. We'll just keep suffering with what we have. But if it's really, really bad and chaotic and things are falling apart, then people are more likely to take on something that may not sound really good, but it certainly sounds better than what you have. And that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. The rich are getting richer. The economy's getting worse. People are getting dumber, and that's not a mean thing to say. It's just a truthful thing. The level of ignorance in our society is becoming greater and greater. The level of the degradation of morality and biblical truths is, probably an all-time high for this nation. It's all coming apart. I saw something today that the top 20% earners in the United States, so the top 20% wealthiest people, are the only thing that's keeping the economy moving and making it look somewhat successful. And I've seen little reports on like that over the last year, that they are purchasing so much. They're doing so well. The very top wealthiest people in this country are doing so well that they're basically carrying the economy. They're making the economy look good. So when you see these numbers like this, and that's the stock market, that's a big part of it. Oh, the stock market, it's growing by leaps and bounds. My goodness, it's up, 34% in the last 12 months. I think it's something like that, but I'm not sure. Do you think it's mom and pop and grandma and aunt and uncle down on Main Street in a little small town America that's putting all their money into the stock market that's making it, go up like that? Do you really? The little small business owners? I mean, yeah, there's definitely people's 401ks and stuff that's going in it, but honestly, that makes up actually a really small portion of the stock market. About 85% of the stock market is wrapped up in the top, 10% wealthiest people. So they're making the country, economically look good. And it's because they're buying up everything. That's why housing, Trump, he's backed off of this whole housing bill. He says it's not important to him. And he says it's because, he doesn't want these elderly people, the boomers, to lose money. And on paper, that may sound reasonable or at least understanding, but that's not the reason. It's because as long as housing is up the way it is, it keeps you out of that system. It keeps the regular buyer. It doesn't matter if you're, a young kid or middle-aged like myself or a boomer. It keeps the average person in America away from most homeownership. Unless you move out to places like this, into the really small rural towns, and of course you're giving up things, and it's not as nice and it's not as convenient. I can go around here and I can find a house for $50,000. I can find a house probably less than that. It's not a nice house. It's small. It's going to need some repair, but you can. But 10 years ago you could have bought it for $10,000. But they don't want to make housing affordable because they want to keep it up there to where it's unaffordable for most Americans, but the ultra wealthy and the BlackRocks and stuff of this nation, they can afford it. I mean, they're just printing money anyways. So they'll buy up all the houses to the point that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And eventually, people will have no other choice but to, move into the 15-minute smart cities. And I guess be happy with what little scraps that they're allowed to have falling off the table. Yes, folks, that's the plan. I know it sounds doom and gloom, but it is the truth. So keep getting yourselves prepared, pushing to, get ready. Get ready for all this. Become self-sufficient as much as possible. Try to get out and away from these places. Because if they're not hellholes now, they will be eventually. I don't know what else to tell you, but just get ready and get your houses in order, preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.
This is a Red Alert broadcast. The Russian president convened an emergency government meeting addressing the ongoing fuel crisis inside of the country. There are queues of people lined up miles long, fighting and stabbing each other for fuel. This was caused in part by Ukrainian strikes deep inside Russian territory. Now, Putin also announced that Russia is introducing a full ban on the exportation of gasoline and kerosene, and said that a diesel ban was also being considered. He admitted, and this is in a direct quote, "You know well that problems both for vehicle drivers and businesses remain. And unfortunately, there are also lines at gas stations. You can't always find the type of fuel that you need. And of course, we understand the difficulties that agricultural workers and farmers are facing." Putin goes on to make some very difficult decisions for the country involved. And I want to go ahead and jump right into some of what we have happening, because this world is literally getting crazy, but it didn't just start today. I want you to listen close to something that was recorded decades ago.
Brainwashing. Okay, you're saying these people that are experts in brainwashing is using the Department of Education to brainwash our children?
Yes.
What are they after? Why are they doing it?
Well, if you want to move a country from a free individualistic economy,
which we have.
Yes, or had.
Or had, okay.
To a planned economy, you have to do it through the schools. You have to dumb down and brainwash, change the attitudes and values. You have to completely, social engineering has to go on constantly. And many teachers know what I'm talking about. And people are going to...
Now, that's an ex-senior policy advisor at the U.S. Department of Education under the Reagan presidency explaining this 25 years ago. Here we have Colorado. Look at this wildfire that is just removing all of the good oxygen into the air, and it's causing a really big disaster in that area. Look at the sun blotted out.
Oh, it smells like smoke.
This is a nighttime view of that exact same fire. Here we have the Rio Grande in Arizona completely dried up. Look at this guy who's sitting right in front of what should be a thriving river system of that exact same fire. Here we have the Rio Grande in Arizona completely dried up. Look at this guy who's sitting right in front of what should be a thriving river system.
Rio Grande River for many years now, and I have never seen anything like this. In the last 4 years, the river has dried up.
Now, there's a bit of a theory out there, and we could talk about this in depth maybe on a live show. The theory is that the groundwater will seep back into the earth, and then it will come back out in rushing gushes with tectonic activity. If that theory proves to be anywhere near true, folks, we are in for the ride of our life. And we're going to see some big and disastrous events in our near future. Speaking of a disaster, here we have the Fresno Police Department. You know, I live in the United States of America. I have full expectations of certain cultural delegations. But here we have a sheriff deputy with Fresno. And they're speaking only not to, apparently not to Americans.
ਫ੍ਰੈਜ਼ਨੋ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਆਫਸਰ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਫ੍ਰੈਜ਼ਨੋ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਸ਼eriff ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ। ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਜਾਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ
Now, I don't know what kind of panini he's talking about, but what I see is a culture, a country that is all but being forcefully changed. Here's the flooding taking place in Kentucky.
But look, my house is burnt. All because the creeks don't get cleaned out. Because there's no part of my house is burnt. Never, not one time.
Here we have some of those cues in Russia that we were talking about. Look at how deep they go.
Что ты творишь, Ирск? Пока проплаченные известные блогеры Башкирии сглаживают ситуацию, говорят, что это все искусственно вызванный ажиотаж, мы просто видим, какова реальность. Я насчитала более 50...
Now, we sat around the fire last night and with my wife and my brother, and we talked about what we expect to see in the USA, because right now in Russia, there are soldiers standing outside of the children's windows with anti-aircraft weaponry shooting up at drones and missiles that are reaching deep into Russian territory, hitting Moscow. That's the exact same thing as if we were to see attacks on Washington, D.C., United States of America. And the real question that we have for each other is, when do the riots start? When does the unrest become visible? And what will be different here in the USA than it is over in Russia? Because Russia, in my opinion, is the purveyor of control. They maybe have a little bit less of they definitely have a less communistic approach than China. But in either country, you speak out against the government, somebody's coming to pick you up. But in Russia, they're also going to pick up your sister, your mother, your friend, your coworker, everybody who has a close circle to you.
Inflation is hitting everybody hard out there. I just want to let you know the managers at Walmart have your back. Manager special, 49 cents, down from 50. Thank you for your service.
Wow, butter's on sale for $8 a pound. $23.49 for paper towel. Probably gonna buy 10 packages at that price. Can't beat it. Wow, only $7 for asparagus that might last until tomorrow. What am I gonna do with all this money I'm saving? Probably gonna plan a trip or something. Everything is so cheap. It's like they're giving it away. Start the car. Great news. Groceries only came to $150 and everything fit nicely into this bag. Isn't that convenient? There should be enough food here to last us through the weekend. If these great savings continue, you may only have to work until you're 88 instead of 90. Wouldn't that be nice?
Y'all done lost y'all's ever-loving mind. There's going to come a point real soon that these people making these decisions, y'all going to be drug out by pitchforks and torches. I can't wait till it happens. Y'all must be out your ever-loving mind. Think you're going to charge people $7 for a single can of vegetables. $7! Oh, I'm sorry. It's on sale for $6.59 if you use your Food City card. Single can of asparagus. $6.59. I'm telling you, the American people is not going to survive like this, and they're not going to put up with this. There's going to come a point to where these officials, these store owners, these government, say, yahoos that are making this decision to run you and me in the ground, y'all are going to get drug out by your hair before this stuff is over with. The American people is not going to continue putting up with every time they go to the grocery store, things continue to skyrocket. And then y'all come on here and tell us, oh, well, we're just imagining this. We're liars. Y'all are the one that are telling the truth. Everything's coming down right. I'm telling you, there's going to come a point we're going to drag y'all out of office.
Do you guys remember when you could buy bleach for like 86 cents? Especially these small ones up here. They used to be like 86 cents. What happened?
Okay, am I crazy? Who's paying $29.99 a pound for chicken salad?
$5.55. Family size, double stuffed Oreos, $5.55. And the smaller sizes aren't much better. $4.50 for just a regular size. Look at Chips Ahoy, $4.50. $5.55 for the family size.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is $90 worth of, I wouldn't even call this groceries. This is one bag. What's in here? There's a little thing of rice in here, some mushrooms, some graham crackers, Nutella, 2 cleaning products, strawberries, some cauliflower rice, and some bread. $90. There is also a ground beef in here, but yeah, $90.
And this is the reason why sometimes I go out to eat, because I don't have to cook it. I don't have to pay for the gas and electricity and my time and all that.
I'm here at Kroger and I have to share this with you. On their clearance, they have little potatoes. Look at this. Marked down $16.27 from $25.44. I wonder why they were marked down when you can buy a bag of potatoes for $4 or $5. Unbelievable. Price gouging at its finest here. Oh, you get this bacon, this little tiny bit of bacon, $6.27. No, thank you. Drop it in the comments what you're looking for. Have a good one.
You could buy 1 pound of ground beef for $10.99, or you could do the value pack and save a full $1.50 and get 3 pounds for $31.47.
This is your sign to pay attention at the grocery store. I got Cajun chicken breasts from the deli counter for just sandwiches for the week for my family of 5. You see that? $22 for some deli meat? I mean, it's my fault for not realizing and not looking, but for $1.50 pounds. I have to take that sticker off so my husband does not see that because he will be angry.
This is nuts. So, check this out. Grocery haul just to get some sandwich meat, a box of trash bags, some cheese for the sandwiches, a loaf of bread, and 4 bag of chips. When you see this receipt, that's after the reward savings. So this little haul right here was $90-something, and it came down to $73 with the Wiggles card. And $73 is ridiculous for just some sandwich meat, cheese, a loaf of bread, some chips, and a box of trash bags. Just insane.
I just got done grocery shopping at Walmart. Walmart is supposed to be a relatively cheap place to get your groceries from, which is why I shop there pretty often. Do you guys know how expensive hamburger meat is now? It is literally almost $8 for 1 pound, and it doesn't matter what kind of hamburger you're getting. It doesn't matter if it's the 75-25, the 85-15 lean. Like, it doesn't matter what kind you get. It's all almost $8, which is insane because my mom used to tell me when I first moved out of the house and was purchasing things on my own, she was like, just always have hamburger because hamburger is so inexpensive. You can pick it up. You can make so much with it. $8 is actually crazy. Like, that adds up so freaking fast. My groceries weren't that expensive. Like, I was adding them up. I'm like, okay, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. I added my hamburger, and my price skyrocketed. That's freaking crazy. What are we doing? What is this economy that we are all living in right now? It makes me so mad. Like, no one can afford to live. A hamburger is so expensive, and that is supposed to be one of the most easily accessible meats. Oh.
Okay, so I just went grocery shopping. I went to 3 different stores. I went to Trader Joe's, Aldi, and then Meijer for like all the stuff you cannot get out of those stores. And I just totaled everything up because I felt like it was super expensive. I just spent $472. And this is like a week worth of groceries. Sure, like sometimes I make unique meals, so I get some like unique stuff. But is somebody else on my page? Because this is actually kind of normal. And I keep following people that are like, for a family of 6, we spent $800 for the month, which I'm like, there is no way ever. I mean, clearly I gotta change some things to get like my bill down, but you guys, every time it shocks me. It shocks me, and it's depressing.
What the hell is this? Look, I get it. I want to spend $60. I'm not spending $60 on like the whole box even. Like, what? Like, what count is it? 40 piece. Okay, maybe 40 piece, because that's like over $1 each, so. But yeah, this one ain't even got any price on it. This is all regular snacks, and yeah, something wrong there.
Nah, because deadass, what are we on? $22 for a ribeye?
I'm sitting in my car before I go in the house because I don't want to lose it in front of my kids. I just went to the dollar store and picked up a 4-pack of toilet paper for $4.50. And then I went to the grocery store and bought 2 boxes of mac and cheese, 2 packs of mashed potatoes, the Food Line brand of soda, a Food Line brand of butter, and a Food Line brand of milk, and spent $25. Before the trip, we had $90 left until payday. Thankfully, we have enough dinners to last us until payday, but we need lunches for our kids because they're off of school for the summer. And it's just so fucking hard right now. Like, my husband and I both work at decent paying jobs. We own our home, and our payment is relatively low compared to the cost of rent in our area right now. But because of the cost of groceries and gas and everything else, we're barely getting by. And I feel like not enough people, I don't want to say that because people are pissed off enough about it, but like the right people aren't doing the things they're supposed to fix it. And I just don't understand. Like, are we making America great again? Is this what America being great is supposed to look like? Because it's not great for me or majority of the population.
People make these videos about the grocery store, so I'm going to show you what I got for $62 from Weis. 2 bags of stuff for $62. So this should be your little reminder to don't go to Weis. First was this little pack of berries, $6. $6 for these smoothies. $5 for this little amount of strawberries and 4 pieces of kiwi in it. 4 yogurts. They were like almost $2 a piece. I think these are actually cheaper at Whole Foods. I do like this brand, but yeah, that's like $8 for 4 yogurts. 2 Olipop for I think $5. That's the normal price for these. This small amount of asparagus, $4. A healthy snack. I think this was $5 or $6. $2.99 for one cucumber. I think this was almost $4. Some pre-made lentils. This was the cheapest thing, was the bread, because I was gonna get the healthier bread. It was $10. I said, oh hell no. So I picked one for $3. I decided not to care. Tomatoes, $5.99. Okay, and Aldi, this is like $3, but I didn't have an Aldi near me. I hate Weis, by the way. Like, I hate it. $8 for the jelly. $8. I don't know why I got it. $8 for the sun butter, because I was like, you know what, let me try to be like healthy, something different than peanut butter. I'm not buying that again. And then 2 grapefruit cups. So tell me, do you think this is worth $60 from Weis? Not last week I went to McCafferty's, which is like a smaller, like local grocery shop, and I felt like I got more there, and I spent like $60 there. I literally felt like I got more when I was there than I did here. Because I got like pasta salad, potato salad, avocados. I got like waters, like more. I feel like I got more stuff. This is just from Weis, a normal grocery store. I'm not going back. I'm not coming back here. I'm driving to Aldi next time. I just can't. I can't do this.
Y'all, I am in HEB right now, and they have lost the plot. So I personally eat this particular sausage, right? Because I eat turkey sausage. Let me show you how much this shit is. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, HEB has lost the plot, and they have lost their mind. And as a dedicated member, that really hurt me. Mind y'all, this sausage used to be $4.99, then it went up to $5.49, and now it's $8. Yeah, no.
This is a PSA for all of the privileged, rich, wealthy Americans. Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm 32 years old. I work full-time, and my paycheck does not give me enough to even get the bare minimums, okay? I had a savings account, and I just had to use about half of it just to get by until my next paycheck. Okay, and the reality of that is once my savings is gone, I don't have a crutch. I don't have any more crutches. And the stress of going grocery shopping, y'all, I'm at Aldi, okay, which is quite literally probably one of the cheaper grocery options. And the way that I have to pinch my pennies just to make sure I have enough food until the next paycheck is quite literally wild. So to all of my humans out there, you're doing amazing. And you know, we're a one-income family. My fur babies don't work. I wish they did. I wish there was an opportunity. But what are we supposed to do? Like, when is enough enough? Because this kind of living is unsustainable. Unsustainable. Meanwhile, y'all are out here driving your Teslas and your Cybertrucks and your G-Wagons. Y'all, I'm in a Chevy Equinox, okay? And I'm starting to think I need to trade it in because I can't afford life anymore. When is enough enough? I would love to know. I would absolutely love to know. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. I have a college degree. I am overqualified for my job. I am severely, severely underpaid. What are we supposed to do? What's the answer? Because I think the next step for me, I'm gonna have to look into food stamps, and I bet you my salary is above the threshold. But obviously, I'm $85.26 away from being in the negative. What are we supposed to do? How am I supposed to buy groceries for 2 weeks with $85 only to have 26 cents left in my bank account?